Hi everyone, welcome back to part 2 of my mixed media background video. The first video showed how to create an inexpensive background for mixed media for scrapbook layouts. Since I went off camera, I've decided to use this background as a sort of a nautical theme. I've put some extra bubbles, I stamped some bubbles on here. Doesn't come out very well because this is a textured piece of paper and I normally only stamp on smooth, but anyway, you get the gist. And I've decided to use these 3 photographs of my granddaughter and my son, and we were on the ferry on the way to the Isle of Wight, so I'm going to use some sort of nautical themed papers. I'm using By the Sea by Cartabella, and this is a random piece of paper. I think it's an old Kaisercraft one, but I'm not absolutely certain. Anyway, so I'm using a bit of red and white and blue striped paper to make a banner, and I'm going to use a bit of these other pieces of paper as well, so we get the gist of the nautical theme. So as I said earlier on, when you're doing a background for mixed media, you end up covering a lot of it up after you've done it, because you never quite know where you're going to put your papers. So I'm going to put a banner down here, and I'm going to put a piece of paper sort of behind here as well, and I think I'm going to use this piece of paper, so I'll just chop that down. I'm not one for measuring, so just chop that down on my guillotine, and I'm going to put that across the middle. And then I shall be making this into a banner. It's a little bit long at the moment, so I'll chop that down a bit. And I'm going to put some tail ends on here. So I don't know about anyone else, but I've said in my videos before, this is how I make a banner. I cut up, I eyeball it to halfway, and then I just chop into the middle to make the banner, and that's it. That's my banner shape done. I added a little bit of yellow on the previous video, and then I decided to use this paper which has got red in it, so I did add a little bit of red as well, and I'm not probably going to use much of the yellow, but there will be perhaps something that I'll pick out in yellow. I like to define the edges of my papers, and in this instance I'm going to use the red ink pad that I use to smoosh to make the packaging technique to put the little red splodges, so it will be the same red that I've smooshed onto the background. I don't know if smooshed is a proper word, but it seems to work. So I'm doing this as a challenge for a UK scrapbooking group called Mind the Scrap, and this week their challenge is to use a mixed media background, which is what's prompted all the mixed media interest, and to use embellishment clusters and stamping, which I've done. And here is my banner. Now I've cut it a little bit short, so I think I'm just going to pop it down here. I think I'll cover up that bit of bubble stamping at the bottom because I wasn't very happy with it anyway, but I can leave that piece up the top. Right, so now I'm going to stick that piece down, covering up that stamping at the bottom. Does only takes a few seconds, doesn't it? So it's not really the end of the world. And now I'm going to add my photos. Got to decide which layout, and I'm going to make 3 photographs. So I'll push them all over, and I'm going to use 3 photos like this. This was the beginning of the month. We went away for a week with my son and granddaughter, and the first bit of our journey, first leg of our journey, was on the ferry to go to the Isle of Wight. Luckily for me, this paper's got a nice straight line on it, so I can eyeball it and line it up. Now if I cover that piece of stamping up as well, I'm going to need to do some more stamping. because one of the criteria is stamping on the Mind the Scrap challenge. So I will just I'll put the photograph there instead. And so what I'm going to do now is just start embellishing. Now I've got a sticker sheet here which has got some great stickers and things on it as well, so I'm going to use some of these. Also nice lighthouses on the back, so you never know, I might fussy cut some, but just for speed I'm going to put a nice cluster down the bottom with using this sailing boat, because actually in the background of these pictures, although we're on a ferry, there are sailing boats. So I'm going to put three embellishment clusters. I'm going to start off one down here in that corner, and then I will probably do a couple of the lighthouses up here. So put those on there like so, tuck one underneath that little piece of paper. And I need another third embellishment cluster to go down the bottom. So I'm going to use the anchor from this page as well to make my third embellishment cluster, which can go down here. Unfortunately, I've not scrapped for a few days at home, so I'm a little bit out of sorts with where things are, but I'm just going to put a little bit of foam pad on the bottom of that anchor so that it sits nicely above the photos rather than below it. There you are. And that needs another tiny little bit at the top just to stop it bouncing. There you go. Okay, so then the basis of my, in fact, I think I'm going to peel that off, and I'm going to do that with this sailing boat too, and I'm going to do it with that lighthouse. Make them all stand proud instead of little flat ones as I originally started out. That's the beauty of scrapbooking. Nothing's incorrect. You can change your mind and do what you like, when you like, how you like it. So that's going to be down here. Okay, and I'm going to put a bigger piece behind this lighthouse, and that uses 3 of my photographs up from my holiday that I got back from on Friday. I like the foam tape rather than individual foam pads, then you can cut it to the exact size you want. And I think what would be nice on this, as it's a sort of a nautical background, a layout, is I'm going to put some baker's twine on it. So here I've got a box of baker's twine. I like to keep, look at that, I've got red, white and blue baker's twine, that's handy. I keep all of my baker's twine and keep all of my embellishments in these A5 Western boxes. So we can put some of that in there as well. I'll do a little screwed up part of a piece. And what I do when I'm doing baker's twine and I'm doing a twirl, I'll do 3 fingers first, then 2 fingers, and then that sort of gives you a loopy bit. That's not a very technical term, but I'm sure you know what I mean. So that I can tuck underneath here. So I've got a bit of a twine bit going on here, and I'm going to do another one down the bottom by the boat. Again, 3 loops, then 2 loops around 2 fingers. Chop that off. Just spread it out a bit. Should have thought of this before I stuck them down, but never mind. And again, I've got my loopy bits there for my baker's twine. Put that away in a minute. Now what else shall I do for this seasidey theme? I'd really like some seashells, but I don't think I've got any that are small enough and flat enough to put on there. So what else have I got? I've got a little box here called Itty Bitty Embellies, which are little tiny embellishments, and in amongst there I've got all sorts of little things that are small. They're quite nice, they work nicely, and I've got some red and white striped ones here too. They'll be quite nice with a nautical themed background. So nautical themes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, and I've got just a plain red one. 6. What I'll do is I'll put 3 clusters of 2, and then I'll make it into 3 with these wooden embellishments here. Now, I do like a bit of pin flair for sticking heavier or plastic embellishments down onto my pages, but as I said, I haven't been scrapping from home this week. I was away at a crop on Saturday, and I didn't take my pin flair with me, so I forgot it, and so therefore this has not been used for a couple of weeks because I've been away. So it's a bit of a pig to start, but hopefully I'll be able to start it off any second now, and you will not be bored watching me trying to unclog my pin flare. Come on, it's a devil. I'm all cluttered, that's the problem. Let's have another go with a different pin. Why did I decide to use this? Because I wanted to stick those things down, and this is the best I've got, so that's why. I think I might have to try a different pin flare. Let's see if I can have better luck with this one. I usually have a couple of these syringes on the go. Come on, little pin flare. Let's hope that goes. No, it's set solid in there. Oh, pop. I'm going to have to get that out. I'm sorry, I would have got this out before if I'd realised. It's very boring watching me do this, but needs must, because I do need my pin flare to stick those embellishments down. It's very frustrating. I wonder if I can just do something else temporarily. I've got a blue, a different pen today. I've got one of these Super Tack glue pens, but I don't know if that's going to work either. Oh, I hate it when everything goes wrong. Let's try one of these. Right, let's get some of these going. Oh, I've got some glue at last. Right, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then a 1, 2, and a 3 over this side. In fact, I do want 3, but I believe that one of the I believe these are self-adhesive, so, but anyway, I shall pop these on here. And I've given up on the pin flare because I just couldn't get it to go quick enough, and I don't want you to get bored watching this. So there you are, some little stripy, these are just little tiny jelly-like gems, almost like sweeties, that I got from eBay years ago, absolutely years ago, when I first started scrapbooking. And then these are just little wooden embellishments. So 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. I think I'm going to try and find sort of a little tag or something like that I can use, or punched out. I've got a punch that's a little banner shape, which would be quite nice to use. I'm going to use that in this corner. It's a bit of this stripy paper. I'm going to do some little banners. 2, 3, 4. I don't know why I punched 4 out, because it's always better in odd numbers. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to use another bit of that twine that I had just a minute ago, and I'm going to do a little bunting along the bottom, because bunting's quite nautical, isn't it? I'll have to move that little red one and find another home for that in a minute, because I'm now going to put this here instead. And then on the back of that is a little bit of foam pad, and I will stick that on there on an angle, and then I'll do the same with another piece. And the same with the last piece. I think I'm just going to do 3 little flags. I just felt it was a little bit bare in this corner. There you are, that's my little bit of bunting. And then I'm going to chop that off because it's a bit long. And that's where I shall put my red dot. This is where pin flare would be much better. But I should have got that ready before I started, and it's my fault because I didn't. So that's that there. And tuck that behind there. Just a little bit of bunting along the bottom. As you can tell, I haven't planned this out, which is why I'm winging it. And I need a couple of die cuts. That's the other thing that they suggested, or punched out. Actually, I've used those punches now, so that's my little bit of bunting across the bottom. You know what I should have done? I'm going to peel these off gently, and I'm actually going to use my little ink pad, my little red ink pad again, because it doesn't stand out that much against the white. So just gently go around the edges, and then again I can put that on there. Peel this one off, and you'll see that the foam pad is adhering the twine, and normally again I would use my pin flare for that, but I didn't get it ready in time. So, and then peel this one off. Now I need a title though for this, and I'd really quite like to go with all aboard, because we were all aboard. That's a bit of a big gap there, so let's fill that in a bit. There you go, that's enough. So have I got any letters that I can spell out all aboard on? I've got a few of these left. A, L, L, A, B, O, A, R, D. Oh, look at that. I've got all the right letters. Perfect. I think I'll put it across the top. That's the most obvious place for it. And it's in navy blue, so it will go nicely with my colour scheme. Lucky I had an O left. I don't know about you, but E's and O's, they go so quickly normally when I'm doing a layout, and I do tend to use a lot of these little planner alphas. I don't really like the great big thicker alphas, I must say. All aboard. Here we go. That's that. Put that back over there for now. And I think that's more or less finished. So that D was a little bit skew, so I'm just putting that back on there. And I think that's more or less it. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this. I'm sorry that I lost the plot halfway through. I might turn those just a little bit so that they're one stripe going down and one stripe going off horizontally, and straighten that up a little bit too before they set too much. And that is my scrapbook layout with a mixed media background that you saw me create earlier. So before I come back next time, I will sort out my pin flare glues, and I'll do a little bit of journaling off the camera. And thanks for joining me again. I'll speak to you soon. Bye bye.